Good day, Las Vegas, and welcome back to Vegas Vibes, giving you a peek at what's groovin' and brewin' in the music, pageantry, live production, and fascinating scenes in the city that never sleeps. And I'm your host, Esmeralda Padilla-Gould. The award season for film and television has started, beginning with the Golden Globes Awards, and it is time to bet on your favorite actor, actress, TV series, or movie, and all the jazz that comes along with these glittery awards presentations. It is not shocking to see Netflix leading the pack in the nominations. In a pandemic, especially when subjected to long periods of lockdowns, the new norm takes you to the most favorite form of entertainment, binge watching on TV. Las Vegas, however, despite the pandemic, remains the entertainment capital of the world. It has the best and the biggest resorts in the globe and the ultimate entertainment live production stages money can buy. With the vaccinations revving up to 1.5 million doses daily nationwide, we expect most of the live shows and mega concerts to come back by the middle of this year. But don't take my word for it. Come to Vegas and see it with your own eyes. When we come back, I'll give you a heads up on the Golden Globes Awards. Thanks for staying with me. I would like to thank the avid viewers of Vegas Vibes on Vegas Live TV, ACTV, WCE TV, and BingeNetworks.tv, especially those watching on my favorite devices, Roku, Kodi, and Amazon Fire TV, and of course in my very own website, VegasVibes.us. Please continue to support my show and tell your friends to like Vegas Vibes on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. The biggest entertainment news this week is Golden Globes. I would like to share with all of you the highlights of the nominations video from the live stream of E! News and the Today Show on NBC. Enjoy!
Okay, let's not keep the world waiting any longer. Ladies, take it away.
Best Television Series, Musical or Comedy, Emily in Paris, The Flight Attendant, The Great, Schitt's Creek, Ted Lasso. Best Performance by an Actor in a Television Series Drama, Jason Bateman, Ozark, Josh O'Connor, The Crown, Bob Odenkirk, Better Call Saul, Al Pacino, Hunters, Matthew Rhys, Perry Mason. Best Performance by an Actress in a Limited Series, Anthology Series, or a Motion Picture made for television, Cate Blanchett, Mrs. America, Daisy Edgar-Jones, Normal People, Shira Haas, Unorthodox, Nicole Kidman, The Undoing, Anya Taylor-Joy, The Queen's Gambit. Best Director, Motion Picture, Emerald Fennell, Promising Young Woman, David Fincher, Mank, Regina King, One Night in Miami, Aaron Sorkin, The Trial of the Chicago 7, Chloe Chow, Nomadland. Best Performance by an Actress in a Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy, Maria Bakalova, Borat subsequent movie film, Kate Hudson, Music, Michelle Pfeiffer, French Exit, Rosamund Pike, I Care a Lot, Anya Taylor-Joy.
There you go. Place your bets, take a wild guess, or rally behind your favorites. If you would like to share your choices, email me at vegasvibes1@gmail.com. Before we end this segment, here's a reminder that surprise gifts await you when you email me questions, suggestions, or even a cool story you'd like to share with me and our hundreds of thousands of monthly viewers. Please continue to support my show and tell your friends to like Vegas Vibes on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. When Vegas Vibes returns, I'll be interviewing Mrs. Nevada American 2020 Dianna Klein. More than a beauty queen, she has an outstanding resume. Get to know her when Vegas Vibes returns, so stay there. welcome to Vegas Vibes. On Vegas Vibes, I feature amazingly talented people from many walks of life who contribute to making Las Vegas a unique global brand. And on that note, here with us today is an extraordinary woman who followed her father's footsteps into becoming an airline pilot, a United States Air Force veteran, married to a fighter pilot, and a devoted mother to two amazing boys. And in concert with her philanthropic interests, she co-founded Stockwell Medical Incorporated and brought to market a first-of-its-kind powdered prenatal vitamin. She also founded the Take Flight to Fight the Opioid Epidemic initiative to eradicate the current opioid epidemic in our country, and was named one of Vegas Inc.'s 40 Under 40 for 2020. I'm so proud to welcome on Vegas Vibes the reigning Mrs. Nevada American 2020, Dianna Klein. Hello!
Thank you so much, Esmeralda. It's such an honor to be on. Thank you for asking me.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Of course.
And you have a very impressive background.
Thank you. Thank you.
Truly an extraordinary woman. And having said that, please tell us a little bit something about yourself. Like, how did your father influence you into becoming an airline pilot?
Absolutely.
And all the way to your road to Mrs. Nevada American.
Yes,
2020.
for sure. Well, I was very privileged to have my dad in my life to help guide me along the path of aviation. It's an interesting path. It's not a difficult path, but it's one that you have to constantly work at and stay the course. And if you don't have someone to help guide you, it's very difficult to do so. So fortunately, my father is a retired airline pilot. I grew up watching him come home from his trips in his full uniform, and he would have a huge smile on his face. And he would be energized. He would be ready to go hang out and run around with me on his days off. And I thought, I want a job like that I love going to work, but yet I love coming home, spending time with my family, and I still have the energy to do so. And he definitely had that. And he never pushed me into this career, but once he realized I had an inkling to try to emulate him and follow in his footsteps, he definitely helped me along the way. And I grew up 3 miles away from a local airport, so I would always see little airplanes flying around, and I was always fascinated. So at a very young age, I started taking flying lessons at that local airport. In high school, I actually got my private pilot's license, which is the first licensure on the road to becoming an airline pilot. And then I went to college. I went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and I acquired a Bachelor of Science degree while pursuing all of my aviation ratings as well at Embry-Riddle. 4-year degree, finished out in aviation with a degree in aviation. And after that, I flight instructed and built my flight time, and I had a real desire to serve my country. And one way that a lot of my mentors and my father suggested was to serve through the United States Air Force Reserves or the Air National Guard. And fortunately, I grew up in the Northeast, and there were several squadrons around that were of the Air National Guard or the Air Force Reserve variety. And so I went to those units. I said, this is who I am, and I would love to fly for you. What do I need to do? And I was fortunate enough to be hired by one, and that started my path down the military career field. While I was on that path, I was part-time as part of the reserves. It's not a full-time job. You were only part-time. So I did fly for American Eagle Airlines at the time, now Envoy Airlines, and I was building flight time there. Building flight time in the military. I was also married to the love of my life, Mark, who I met in college, who helped support and follow me all the way along my career path. And I built up my flight time and had my applications in with all the major U.S. airlines, and Continental Airlines was the first to call at that time. I was interviewed and subsequently hired, and we went through a merger with United Airlines back in 2010, and here I am. I've been with the combined company for 13 years, and it has been an absolute blast. I get to travel all over the world. My coworkers are some of the most top-notch people I've ever met. I just love my job, love going to work, and then I love coming home to my boys and spending my quality time days off with them, very much like my dad spent with me.
Oh, and how old are your boys?
My boys are 2 and 4.
Wow, still very, very young. How do
Very
you
young.
balance everything, being a wife, mother, and a professional pilot?
That's one thing I learned, and I'm 38 years old, so I have been in this career path and in life for quite some time. And when I was young, I absolutely did not want to ask for help. I felt that it was showing weakness.
Mm-hmm.
I quickly learned that you have to know your limits, and you have to know what you're good at, and know what you're not good at. And then for those things that you're not good at, surround yourself by people who are good at those things, who are willing to help you, and then have the courage and the humility to ask for help. So I asked for help, and one of the biggest people that I asked for help from is my mother. mother-in-law who lives with us, and she is just my right hand when it comes to helping raise my boys. And when my husband and I's work schedules don't quite mesh, she is right there to help us help raise our children, just as well, if not better sometimes than we do. And it is really fun to have 3 generations under one roof. And my boys have learned so much from her already, as they've learned so much from us. And it is just quite literally a family unit, bringing up new members of the family, and I love it. It's worked out great.
That's wonderful to have your mother-in-law with you.
Oh, we're so blessed. We
to
are
raise
so
your
blessed.
2 boys. Yeah, I
Yes,
believe that's very
yes.
important that you get along with everybody, especially your
Oh.
in-laws.
For sure. For sure.
And what made you move to Las Vegas?
Oh, such a culmination of different events. My husband was active duty Air Force for 14 years, and we moved around to 9 different locations in our 13 years of marriage. So we've seen a lot of this country, and there's good and bad to each. And our final move was to Houston, Texas, and that was for me, for my job. Loved Houston, lots of really great people. But my husband and I both wanted to live west. We wanted to see what the West Coast life was like. And we both actually transferred our airline jobs. My husband is also an airline pilot as well as an Air Force Reserve pilot. We both transferred out to Los Angeles initially. And he had lived out here for about a year while I lived in Houston while he finished up his active duty commitment. And I would come out and I would visit Vegas on the weekends. I absolutely loved it. I loved everything from the Strip to the hiking at Red Rock, to the hiking at Mount Charleston, to going to Hoover Dam. We have everything here. And so he mentioned, he goes, how about we live in Las Vegas? He goes, I loved it while I lived there. You seem to really like it while we were there. There's a flight that leaves every hour to LA. Let's look at it. And so we did. And at first I was hesitant. 10 years ago, if you had said that I would be living and loving Las Vegas, I would have scratched my head, because I equated Vegas with just tourism and just a vacation spot. And it is so much more than that. And here we are, almost 6 years later, and I absolutely love it here. Every aspect of it here.
I love that it's a 24-hour city.
It is. It is. Yes.
Any
Yeah.
cuisine you would like to have, it's here. It's available
It is.
24/7.
Definitely.
So where else can you?
Where else can you do that?
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, at 15 years old, you become a pilot.
16, I soloed at 16, and then I got my license at 17, the absolute youngest that I could by federal aviation regulations. So, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And yep. And you have flown a C-5 Galaxy aircraft,
Yeah.
which is among the largest military aircraft in the world.
It is.
What was
It
that
is.
like?
It was amazing. It was amazing. We like to say that it's the largest aircraft in the free world. There are 2 other aircraft that are slightly larger, but they're in a different country. But we are the largest aircraft in the world. We have a maximum weight of 840,000 pounds, so almost 1 million pounds of cargo capacity. And it was such an honor to serve my country and fly during Operation Iraqi and Enduring Freedom. Got to meet some fantastic people, got to really see the faces of the people we were helping. So we would fly cargo in, and then on the ground while we were unloading the cargo, and then perhaps sometimes loading cargo to take out, or sometimes we would leave empty. Being able to talk to my fellow servicemen from all branches of the service that were at the bases that we were serving, and seeing how what we brought to them impacted their mission was just tremendous. It was so rewarding. So rewarding.
Yes. How did you deal with that? I'm sure you become nervous.
It is, but I like to say it's calculated risk. So, and aviation is that way in general, and really we all do it day to day. Driving down the road, we go through a process in our mind of, okay, I need to do this to make sure I stay safe on the road. Same in aviation, and same with flying the C-5 back during those operations, is we knew that there were threats out there, and then we knew how to mitigate those threats as much as we could. And again, that was part of our service. We knew there was an element of risk. And that was part of it, and it was worth the risk.
And I'm sure it's very comforting that you have a big support system.
Oh, huge! Yes, definitely.
And and you have launched an aviation consulting firm as well.
I did.
After
yes.
college.
Yes,
there.
so I started that back in I founded it back in Texas, so it was 2012. And I did that just to broaden my horizons, and I felt like I had gained a lot of information and a lot of knowledge, some through hard knocks and then some through continuous education and my experience in the military, that I felt that I had something to offer the aviation community. And I love safety. I love trying to keep things as safe as I can, and that's what I specialize in. I specialize in aviation safety consulting through Shenandoah Aviation. I had the privilege to work with a helicopter operator, which was way outside my comfort zone because I do not have a helicopter license, but I was able to grow through that. Yes,
You're
yes.
a flight instructor.
I am for a small aircraft, but not for just what we call fixed wing aircraft that have just the wing and not the rotor. I would love to learn how to fly a helicopter. It is on my bucket list of things to do. And now, having worked with that company, I have a lot more knowledge about how helicopters operate and the risks associated with them. And I'm pleased to say too, I'm working with a company right now on the side that I'm very excited about. They are in a very niche industry within the aviation industry, and they brought me on board to help do similar project work, as well as be involved in their pilot hiring process and a lot of their operational logistics too.
That's right, because as a commercial pilot for United Airlines, you spent 4 years in various management positions.
I did.
Including flight manager and second largest pilot at the second largest pilot base.
Yes.
Overseeing base operations and managing more than 700 first officers.
Yes.
Wow, did you do that?
You know, it is so great being around pilots, because pilots, we're very type A and we take care of ourselves. And it was the best group of pilots I've ever worked with down in Houston. And it was 700 fellow first officers. And some I knew very well because they would come in and we would talk frequently, and then others I would never see. But it was a great opportunity. I learned a lot. I worked with a lot of different divisions. I worked with flight attendants. I worked with ramp personnel. I worked with what we call the station management. What a lot of people don't see when they fly on an airliner is they don't see the people behind the scenes that actually touch that airplane in some capacity to get it off the gate and get you to your destination. There's about 200 people behind the scenes that work one flight. So with all the flights we have daily leaving, it's a lot of people, and a lot of people make it work. It's not just we pilots and the flight attendants that you see when you're a customer. There's so many more.
It's a big team effort.
It is.
But then, after that, you also co-founder Stockwell Medical Incorporated.
I did, yes. I actually met some people here in Vegas through my Master of Business Administration program at UNLV. And one of those individuals is a very talented doctor, Dr. Erica Stockwell. She is an OBGYN by trade, and then she specializes in minimally invasive surgery as well. So she's very experienced, very much in high demand. If you have anything internal with your feminine systems going on, she is the doctor that you want to go to. And she mentioned that she had always wanted to formulate her own prenatal vitamin that was essentially the one-stop shopping for all prenatal issues, whether it's folic acid, the vitamins and minerals other vitamins and minerals you need for a pregnancy, as well as nausea. So she developed the formulary, and then I was part of the business end of that product, getting it distributed. And it was so rewarding seeing a product go from quite literally the drawing board and to prototype to being sold, and having women write us and say, this is an amazing product, can you please make more? Do you have anything else in your line of products? And so when COVID-19 hit, we decided to hit pause on those efforts, but Dr. Stockwell and I have been talking. We're hoping to spin those efforts back up again in 2021.
That's wonderful to do for women like me.
Oh yes, of course.
Yes. Well, let's talk about your crown.
Yes.
Growing up, you were a tomboy.
Oh, I was.
I read that somewhere.
I was. Yes.
What motivated you to join the pageant?
Yes, it's a great question. And I started with having lunch with a dear friend of mine. We were working together on the American Cancer Society's Young Ambassadors Board. We were getting ready to put on an event, and Amanda Klein is my friend's name. She and I met for lunch, and I had just given birth to my first son. I think Mason was maybe 4 months old, so I had him with me in the stroller, and I was just, that new mom, I was fatigued. I was just a little stressed. And I still had a little bit of baby weight that I was trying to lose. And like most women do. And Amanda and I did the business part and talked about the event, and then we caught up on life. And I said, I really would love to I'm motivated by having a goal that I can look towards, or having something to look towards, whether it's training for a marathon or looking forward to a vacation too. And I told her, I said, I've ran a marathon before. Glad I did it, but not really interested in doing it again. And I'm like, I need something to motivate me. She goes, well, you should do a pageant. And I'm like, you're talking to me? Like,
yes,
really? No way, Amanda. She goes, you would be perfect. She goes, I am competing in one this year. You should compete with me. I will help you out. And she did. She helped me so much. And I competed first in 2018. I finished 4th runner-up, which is a fancy word for 5th, and I was thrilled. I was just thrilled to be out there on stage. I learned so much, and shockingly, I met some of the most wonderful women through the process, and women who I am still good friends with today, women who are professionals in the home, all the way to vice presidents at major medical firms, and everyone in between. So it was a challenge, and what I've found is all the women who compete are multi-talented in different facets, and this is just something that we attempt to do, to not only have a goal for ourselves, but then we're all very philanthropically minded and community service minded, and this is our ability to bring a lot of light and attention to some of the community issues in Vegas and beyond that may not get that attention. And that's why I'm so passionate about the opioid epidemic. Yes, it gets a lot of attention, but I don't think people understand how many tentacles it has. It affects our youth. Then we have the recovery community that still need our love and support, and then there's the massive funding of it and where the funds from opioids go. It is scary to follow the money. It has been proven that funds garnered from illegal opioid production and distribution have gone to Al-Qaeda, have gone to the Taliban, have gone to the FARC in Colombia. Horrid organizations that are state-funded terrorist organizations. So it is all the way at a very high level, and then it's all the way to our next-door neighbors and in our neighborhoods. And so with Take Flight to Fight the Opioid Epidemic, one of the big passions I have is getting our young people exposed to aviation. And if they choose to go pro, like I did, wonderful. If they don't, at least they have a hobby that they can pursue. I know a lot of people who fly on the side to just for fun and enjoyment. And one precursor to that, and one thing you have to maintain, is a drug-free life. You cannot do any types of drugs and still fly an airplane commercially like I do, or for fun. And I think if we can stem that demand for opioids, stem that demand for the drugs, then there's no market for it, strictly from that taking that business mindset of, if there's no demand, the supply will naturally dry up. And I would love to see that supply dry up.
And that's when you have founded
my initiative, yes.
Yes.
And pre-COVID-19, I had plans to fly. I have a small aircraft, so I had plans to fly several teenagers before before everything happened. I also had plans to go into the schools and actually put out an aeronautical chart and teach them how to do a little map reading, do a little aeronautics lesson, and of course, with the schools being closed, that all shut down. However, I've pivoted, and I have been able to Zoom into schools via Zoom conference calls. I did have the honor of taking several teens up flying in October, and I also took their parents with them. Some of their parents had never flown before either, and there's nothing more rewarding than seeing that big smile on a child's face when the light bulb goes on of, okay, I can do this. And as a female pilot too, I hope someday that the female part drops off and I just become a pilot. But for right now, I think it's important for young women to see someone who looks like them that is out doing something that they were not aware that they're able to do. So that's why I'm so very passionate about it.
That's wonderful of you to do for the people, for the lives that you have touched.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's been very rewarding. It's not only, I feel like I'm helping them, but then they're helping me too. They're helping me. And I feel we're all called by God to use our gifts to help others while we're here on earth. And I feel that this is my calling.
And if there's anything that you would like to suggest to anyone who would like to follow your footsteps.
Sure.
All the accomplishment that you've.
Absolutely. The biggest thing that I can tell anyone out there is we all are basically put into a mold by different stereotypes. As a woman, no one expected me to be a pilot. When I became a pilot, people didn't expect me to be a beauty queen, nor did I even myself expect that of myself. I had a little imposter syndrome in there when I first stepped into this pageant world. My biggest advice to everyone out there is try to expand and do different things, and don't let a single person tell you that you should do something because you are something else. You can be an and. Add that to your personal brand. I am a mother and a wife and a pilot and Mrs. Nevada American.
Rolled into one.
Rolled into one. So put the naysayers aside. Surround yourself by people who motivate you, who encourage you, and who are on your team and have your best interests in mind. Focus on those individuals and never stop growing.
Please invite everyone. Where could they find you?
Yes, definitely. I am very big on Instagram. I love photos. I think photos are one of the most cherished things that we can have to remember our lives and to show our future generations. So because of that, I love my Instagram channel. I post on it regularly, and that's Mrs. Dianna Klein. So at MRSDIANNAKLEIN, Mrs. Dianna Klein. And then that's my personal. You can follow my Mrs. Nevada American journey at Mrs. Nevada American as well on Instagram.
Well, Mrs. Nevada American 2020, I'm so glad to have you on
Thank
Vegas
you so
Vibes.
much.
And I wish you good luck on your reign, and good luck on your upcoming competition for Mrs. American.
Yes.
And hopefully
thank you.
Mrs. World as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope so too.
Well, God bless.
Thank
and
you.
keep inspiring people.
Absolutely will do. Thank you, Esmeralda.
You're welcome. Catch me again next week as I feature another amazing personality here on Vegas Vibes. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode as much as I did sharing the vibes of Vegas. And time really flies when you're having a grand time. Promise to join me again next week on this same fabulous Vegas Vibes channel. And to all our global viewers out there, let me remind you that Las Vegas is not just about the world-renowned Strip or the famous Fremont Street experience in the vibrant downtown district. It has real people, a lot of them musicians, live entertainers, and those involved in the world of pageantry, and to the people here in the Valley who work hard each day to make Las Vegas a global brand. I would like to feature you and your cool story right here on Vegas Vibes, either on the Vegas Vibes studios or at your workplace. If you believe that's you, please email me now at vegasvibes1@gmail.com. Before I go, I would like to thank my award sponsor, Anne Fontaine, located at the Forum Shops of Caesars Palace. Anne Fontaine is now open for business as well. You may call Miss Anna Billings at 702-733-6205 to make an appointment. And finally, my favorite segment, the Vegas Vibes Closet. Yes, it features an intricate selection of health and beauty products which I personally use. And this week I have for you Ria Sunset by Sol de Janeiro. The Ria Sunset Translucent Champagne Shimmer is a luminizing, hydrating, soft shimmer glow oil for the body and face with a buildable, visibly blurring tint that gives a healthy-looking, visibly gorgeous glow for all skin tones. One tiny pump is more than enough. You can mix it with your foundation or use alone as a liquid illuminator. I just love the color and sparkle it gives my skin, and it smells amazing. Ria Sunset by Sol de Janeiro is simply luscious, beaming, and gorgeous. Check it out, ladies. Below is the eBay link if you wish to learn more about it or purchase it without any delay. Search for Vegas Vibes Closet. Follow Vegas Vibes on Facebook and Instagram, or check out vegasvibes.us for updates and announcements. Once again, I'm your host, Esmeralda Padilla-Gould. Thank you for watching. Mwah!
This has been a presentation of VATV.